Alright, in this video we're going to make a simple header. Now if you already have a logo, you probably can skip this unless you just want to add something to your header. But right now we're going to say that we don't have a logo and we need to make a header for our website. As a side note, your logo is one of your most important, if not the most important part of your brand. And if you're having trouble with it, I really do recommend that would be the one thing that is the most important to hire out if you can't do it on your own. A real logo is going to be made in Illustrator. It's going to be scalable. What we're doing is not really creating a logo. We're just creating a header for a website. It's not going to be printable. It's not going to be scalable in the same way that a real logo is. So I would recommend hiring out a logo if you cannot make one yourself. Otherwise, I do have listed in the resources a Udemy course on how to make a logo. But for right now, just for the purposes of this course, because I don't have time to go into all of the details of making a logo, we're going to make something really simple for a header that will at least help us get online. And then the next step would be to make it into a real logo or to hire it out into being a real logo. But it's not going to be something that you're going to want to be changing, every week. This is going to be an important part of your brand. So for the purposes of this course, we cannot get into all the details, but this will help you get started. So I've gone ahead and I've made a font pairing. It's not really a worksheet, it's just a PDF file. So this is made just using all sorts of different fonts from Font Squirrel. So these are the 100% free for commercial use, so you're able to use them on your website to create your header image. So I've shown a couple different examples. Typically for a header design or a logo design, I like using some sort of a sans serif and a serif font. Sometimes I'll use something more like a handwritten font, and those I tend to like to pair with sans serif fonts. But this is just to give you some ideas. You can even use the same font in different weights. So this font is the light version, this is the bold version. So this is just to give you some ideas on some simple ways to pair fonts and things that you could put together to make a nice looking header. So what we're going to do is we are going to use GIMP to make this. You can use Photoshop if you have it. The reason we're using GIMP is because it's free. I'm assuming that if you're not hiring out your whole website design and development, you're probably also not shelling out the $1,200 or whatever it is for Photoshop, to make just a few images. So GIMP is free, it's easy to use, it's not as versatile as Photoshop, but it will do the basics for us. Now, if you have Photoshop, feel free to follow along, it's not going to be that different. So the first thing that we want to do in GIMP is create a new file. So we go to File and New, and you need to choose a width and a height. For pros, the default width is going to be 940 pixels. And the height can be any height that we want, but for a header, I generally don't recommend over 300 pixels. I'm going to go with 200, I think. So then under Advanced Options, I want to make this a transparent background. So we can make the Fill With Transparency, and this will allow the header to stand out against any color background that we do. Okay, go ahead and click OK. And here is our header. Now I do have trouble kind of seeing what I want, so I'm going to create a new layer. So go to Layer and New Layer and make a white one. And I'll make it just the same size, but I just want to be able to see what I'm doing more easily on a white background because my background will probably be white, but we're going to delete this layer later. Alright, so remember your brand words when you're choosing your fonts and putting this together. I want my website feeling to be kind of, laid back and fun, but still kind of professional. So let's choose some fonts. So I selected the text tool, and for right now, I just want to go ahead and type in my business name. And we'll make that a little bit bigger. Alright, now what font do I want to use? Let me look back at the font pairings. I like this Leckerli font, and I also like Nexa. I do also like these. Let's play around a little bit. Let's try Leckerli one. That's not bad. Let's try Nexa. Maybe like that better in caps. The problem with GIMP that you will not have in Photoshop if you're using Photoshop is with GIMP, whatever this text is, you can't just change one part of it to a different font. So if I wanted to change this to light, it will change everything. So I'm going to have to actually split up my words if I want them to be two different things. But I'm liking Nexa and I'm liking Leckerli. But let me check out Sanchez real fast. I also like that. Let's just play around a little bit more. Let me go ahead and delete the creative, and let's find which font I want to use for the EF. Let's try the Nexa again. I did really like that. I do like that. Then let's type creative in a new text box. Let's kind of put it on the same line. We'll line that up a little bit better in a minute. Let's see. This would be mixing a sans serif font and a serif font, so that's a possibility. That doesn't look too bad. But I want it to be a little bit more fun, so let's try that Leckerli font again. I'm liking this better. This just seems kind of fun to me. I like that. I like that and I can tweak the font size and stuff a little bit, but I like that the lines across here are similar to this top line here. I like the contrast of the sans serif, which is kind of professional, and, you know, I wouldn't say boring, but, you know, it's kind of professional and clean, but I like the creative being kind of creative and fun looking. So I like that. Let me go ahead and close this. Now I want to turn off the visibility on this white layer so that I can kind of line things up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and try and line these up a little bit better. Now I could make these bigger if I wanted, but I kind of really only want my logo to be about half the width because I have plans of putting like social media icons and things on this side. Now if you want things to be full width, just go ahead and make them huge across there, and that's fine too. Do whatever you want, but I'm going to do them about half the width and kind of line them up here. Now, if I want to change the colors of the font, we can do that. So I select whichever one I want. I'm going to turn this background back on so that I can get an idea of how it will look. So select the creative, get the text tool again, and choose the color over here. Let's go to our color palette. I saved it off of my mood board, the one that I want. So this is the color palette I want to go with. So let me go ahead and open this with GIMP. And now I can use the eyedropper tool and take these colors. So if I want the creative to be pink, I just select that. When going between two different images, you will have to come in here and just press Ctrl-C to copy. And now it will be available on this document as well. So let's go ahead and select that. And there's the new pink. And it actually is looking a little reddish to me. I'm not sure if I'll change that or not, but let's make the EEF a different color. Let's go back to the color palette. Where to go? Went behind. Let's try this in yellow. Again, you have to open this up and kind of copy this, or it won't transfer to the other one. Okay. I'm not in love with that, but it's not bad. Maybe I don't want this to be... Maybe what if this one was pink, and what if this one was yellow? Really creating a header is just playing around a lot. I'm liking this better. Let's make this pinker. I already have a pink here that I like, but we can change the color up in here to find one that works better for us. Let's try something like that. And that's looking pretty good to me. I'm liking the way these look. I'm liking how they go together. I want to add my tagline down below, so let's add a new text box. And right now it's going to be in this font, but we're going to change that. So let's go with e-courses for creative entrepreneurs. And I don't want that. Let's try that Nexa light. Where did it go? And size that down and maybe make it just like a dark gray and scale it down some more. Something about like that. Okay, I'm liking how that's looking. I maybe want some more white space, so I need to move everything, but I'm liking the way these are lined up with each other enough that I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to merge these layers together so that I can just move them all together. So let's go layer, and where are we? Merge down. So now the creative and the e-courses for creative entrepreneurs are one layer, but I want to merge them again, the creative and the EEF. So let's go layer and merge down. Now I can get my grabber tool and move them all together. So let's create a little bit more white space on the top, but I don't want a whole lot on the side. Something about like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut off the bottom of this. So I'm going to grab my selector tool here and just kind of drag across about like that and go image, crop to selection. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. I just want to go ahead and delete this layer here. So I'm just going to select it and go right click and delete layer. And now we have the transparent background, so no matter what color background we put this on, it won't have like a big white block around it or anything like that. So let's go ahead and save this. Go to File and Save. And I want to go ahead and save this into my EEF Creative folder. I'm going to name it Header. Now we want to save this as a PNG image so that we get the transparent background. JPEG will not give us that. So we can just type in PNG and GIMP in Photoshop. You'll need to go to File and Save for Web and save it as a PNG through there. But for GIMP, you just type it in. You can also select the file type through here if you want to, but I don't. The PNG is going to be fine. So let's go ahead and click Save. Now it's going to tell me that we have to merge the visible layers because we do still have the text layer up here and the background. So we're going to have to go ahead and merge those and export. And I don't need all of these different things, so I'm just going to go ahead and uncheck them and go ahead and click Save. Alright, so our image is saved, so I want to just go ahead and double check things. So I'm going to go into my folder here, and I'm just going to go ahead and preview this. And that looks really good to me. So let's go ahead and roll with this one and mock up a design.